For people who want to know what is the Keith Network, the whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove them. Still amount to something.
Hey everybody, my name is Saskia Baur. I just had the pleasure of sitting down with Keith Andrew. Please check out his channel on YouTube. He's doing an amazing thing. He just celebrated 9 years doing what he's doing, and I loved sitting down. He's an amazing guy, really funny, great sense of humor, and please check out our episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Saskia Baur, and welcome to the Keith Network.
Thank you so much, Keith. Thank you so much for having me today. It's a pleasure to sit down with you.
The honor's all mine. Now, for people who want to know what my talk show is about, as I'm talking, a video will pop up with the 72-hour permission form. That's like in the background, so I'm talking. Don't mind me, I like to be behind the scenes. A little bit about our guest. You are a professional actress. So the first question I want to ask you, who influenced you to become a professional actor?
Ooh, I love that question. And congratulations also on your 9-year anniversary, Keith. That's so awesome. I came out of the womb wanting to act. When I was 4 years old, I was putting on little shows for my grandmother in her backyard. My grandmother lived across the street from us. I grew up, born and raised in Los Angeles. And, God, that is such a wonderful question. I'm trying to think of who was probably my biggest influence. Probably my mom was Dutch. My mom was from Holland. And she had a very dear friend of hers who also lived in California. She lived in the Bay Area. And her daughter started to act when she was at college aged. Her daughter, Nanette, who I was very close to. And so I think Nanette was probably my biggest inspiration in terms of somebody who was actually going for it and doing the work. She went to school for it. And, but yeah, for me, it really kind of was something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to perform. I started off as a ballet dancer. I started training in ballet at the age of 4, and always knew that I wanted to do something in the arts.
No, absolutely. And it's funny to mention you're from California. My brother eventually wants to move to Burbank.
Yeah. Burbank is a great place to be. I mean, in terms of being in the industry, if he wants to go into the industry, but also just there's a lot going on in LA outside of even just the artistic endeavors. Los Angeles. It's funny because I spent a lot of time in the Bay Area, and Los Angeles gets kind of a bad rap sometimes from the Bay Area, but it's actually a really pretty incredible place.
No, I agree with you 100%. My biggest thing about moving to California is I don't want to be on God's extra sketchboard. It's just the earthquakes that.
Oh, God. I love that. That's hilarious. I've never heard that. That is so funny. Yeah, God's etch a sketchboard. Yeah. I'm going to knock wood right now. We haven't had one in a while, but I'm knocking wood as I say that because I'm really superstitious.
No, me too. So the next one, usually I use a card, but I'm going to try to go back to my old ways and just wing it. If it feels right, just say it. So I want to ask you, with everything that you and I talk with my hands, force of habit.
Oh, I'm Italian, so I do the same thing. Yeah, totally.
So with that being said, actually I lost my train of thought.
Oh, God,
anyway,
I'm sorry. Shut up. Okay.
No, don't worry about it. It's real. It's not scripted. That's what makes the Keith Andrew Network better, because you're being yourself. I didn't give you a list of questions beforehand because it's premeditated. That doesn't really sound right, but you don't want it to be planned out. You just want to say, hey, you know what? Let's throw it and roll with it. What about California that you like, and what about California that you don't like?
Wow. I've always lived in California. What I don't like about California is the cost of living. We pay a premium to live here. I'm of the opinion that housing is a human right. It shouldn't be a privilege. And, we have a very big homeless population here. I don't think we've done a great job of managing it. And what I love about California is the weather, the culture that we have here. We have a very, and this probably sounds weird telling you that because you're from New York, and New York is like everything. I love New York. But I think that California has a really rich culture. It the people that we have here, the cultures that we have represented here are very diverse, and I love that. Growing up in LA, I was I was in the melting pot. I didn't grow up, I wasn't going to like all white schools. I mean, I had friends of all different hues and colors. And so I think that that's a wonderful thing about California, is that we have a rich diversity here. And that being said, I also have always felt like I could live, I love New York. I don't think I could live there. New York's fantastic. It's a little intense, but yeah, I think if I was going to have to live anywhere else, it would probably be New York or maybe Arizona, which, that's kind of out of left field, but yeah.
Well, Arizona's really good, except for they're almost out of water. Even though you
There's
can
that.
convert, if you watch, I think it was Battleship, or let's go with Battleship, where they actually converted ocean water into
Yeah,
drinking water. And I think
right.
Israel is actually doing that.
Right. A lot of people are doing the desalination. And I think they are doing it in California. I heard recently, I want to say it was maybe San Diego, because we've been in a drought. I mean, California has been in a drought for how many years? Like 3, 4. I lost count how many years we've been in a drought here. And, we've had these horrible wildfires
Yeah.
here. And yeah, so we're going to have to figure out some way to get our water in a way that makes sense.
And there's absolutely no reason. Okay, a lot of people, my dad says to me, you know how far California is from the ocean? I mean, if they make pipelines, they wanted to make pipelines going to Canada, just have one going to the freaking ocean.
There you
There's
go.
absolutely no reason California is in the shape that it is. My friend who I
Yeah.
interviewed said, if you take trying to think without hurting myself. Sorry. He said something about you can relate to this. The traffic. It takes you for somewhere was supposed to take you 10 minutes. Will take you an hour, and it doesn't have to be like that. There's buses. There's trains. But do you think it's too many people? Do
I think it's a combination of things. I mean, it's too many cars, not enough road. So that's the biggest factor. I think that unfortunately in the United States, with the exception of like New York, that I think has fantastic public transit, Chicago, car is king in the United States. I lived in Italy for a little while. I went to school there, and people have vehicles, but they use public transit. They use the bus, they use the train. If they're taking a trip, they take the train. Now, Europe is, the land mass is a little smaller, it's easier. But I think unfortunately in the United States, car is king. And we love our individual freedoms. Which is no shade to that, but it has created this problem of a lot of people on the road. And I lived in the Bay Area for a really long time. And it was happening up there. Now in the Bay Area, San Francisco, we have Bay Area Rapid Transit. We have generally a little better public transit. At the same time, people still want to be in their cars.
yeah.
So it's a mindset. A lot of things I think come down to mindset. And if we're just willing to shift our mindset a little bit, then I think we could solve a lot of problems. I love that electric cars are on the road more regularly now. I think that's such a great shift. It took a long time. I'm old, I'm 50. I grew up in the 80s. And, when an electric car, nobody would even talk about such a thing. But now it's a reality. So that shift can happen. A lot of times it's just really slow, but it does happen, and progress happens. It's happening all the time. Change is the only constant.
No, I agree. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. You know, good thing there's a way I look at it and say it's a blessing, it's a curse. You would think it's the year 2222. Where are the flying cars? But at the same time, people can't drive for shit. So it's bad. So it's bad enough, driving like this, looking for your left, looking to the right.
Oh
you don't want to drive like, like one of those things. You don't want to less caffeine for most people, but don't give. It's like saying give a hamster caffeine and wants it to spin on the wheel. You don't want to be in it. This is not a Mad Max movie by any stretch of the imagination. Even though we do feel like we're living in it.
Well, listen, I can't drive for shit too. If you see my car, you're going to see like what I mean by that. So, I definitely probably couldn't be trusted in a flying car. But what I'm really holding out for is actually the self-driving car, because I feel like an AI would be a much better driver than me. And also it would be great for me because then I could read. I mean, I could just let the car drive and I could read scripts. I could do other things instead of being at the wheel, which is not my favorite thing to do.
No, maybe I'm hoping that gets better, except for the one self-driving car that mistaken the sky for a truck, or this truck for the sky, and went into that.
Right.
But we're gonna take
that has happened. Yep.
We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about the coronavirus, how's it impacted your career, and some more hard-hitting questions when we come back. We're back from the commercial break. The following is brought to you by Disabilities. Disabilities do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. It's approved of them. You can stay them out to something. Also, it's brought to you by YouTube. And make sure to like and subscribe to the Keith Andrew Network, available on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, and all social medias. Hashtag Keith Andrew Network. First question I want to ask you is, how have you been? And how has the since 2020, how has the lockdown impacted your career? And do you feel it was a blessing in disguise?
Wow. Yeah. So when the lockdown hit in March of 2020, I think I had 4 projects in the hopper that were coming up. Of course, those all got pandemicked. And I really felt at the beginning that it was a blessing for me. And the reason I say that is because my life was moving at such a frenetic pace that the lockdown kind of stopped everything. It gave me an opportunity to breathe and go on hikes and have dinner with I was dating someone at the time, my boyfriend at the time. We would have these like lovely evenings where we would just go on a walk and then have dinner at home. And it kind of afforded this opportunity for me for a breather. Now, I'm not going to say that that was the case for a lot of people, because for a lot of people, it was really, people lost their jobs, people lost their lives, people lost their housing. Like this is my saying that is not to make light of any of that, because I'm extremely aware of the gravity of what happened and what is still happening, because the pandemic, we may be done with it, but it's not done with us. It's getting better, but it's not done.
It's 50-50.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. It's 50-50. So, for me to have kind of that breather was actually kind of nice. I work from home. I have a day job. and I am an actor, but I also do have a day job. And that kind of momentum kind of slowed down a little bit. So it was an opportunity to kind of reconnect with myself and with people around me, albeit remotely, because of course we weren't all hanging out with each other at that time. I actually did end up getting COVID at the end of last year. I contracted it on set. I had a breakthrough infection, and it was a vaccine mandated set. All the protocols were being followed. And that kind of put things on hold for me again another time, because I had 3 projects in the hopper for 2022 that all went away because I couldn't go on set for obvious reasons. So it's been a roller coaster. I'm going to say that, it's been a roller coaster that kind of started out kind of slow for me. And then we kind of went, went uphill, and then we went down. And now where I'm at is that things are opening up again. Productions are happening, and trying to navigate that landscape to do it safely. And we're all kind of still navigating that landscape together. And it is frustrating, I will admit, at times for me, because I just want to be going on set and not worrying about it, but I am still worried about it. And I'm also just kind of a worrier by nature. So, you throw a pandemic into that, and it's like, oh, brother, you know what I mean?
No, you're right. And not making any jokes about it, I had it 2 times. My brother came back from a trip. At the time, 2020, they weren't tested, but I was sick for, like a week. I was in bed thrown up in the garbage because this is how weak I was. I couldn't drag myself to the bathroom. So I was pretty much in the room for about a week, and eat whatever strength I had, I was kind of like that.
Yeah, it lays you out. Yeah.
And then the second time I got Omicron, and at the time I got the vaccination and everything. So
yeah,
and that's the big thing, is to get vaccinated. But now they're saying just because you're vaccinated doesn't prevent you from getting sick. You're still going to get sick. The coronavirus is kind of like the flu, like the common cold. The common cold is a variant of a coronavirus. It'd be nice to get rid of that completely, but I'm not a doctor anyway, and it's kind of funny, Mister, in a bizarre kind of way, haha, funny. Anthony the doctor, Anthony Fauci, I think his name, Fauci.
Mm-hmm. Fauci, Fauci, yeah.
He came out as a recently. So the one thing I take offense to is to give people mixed signals. Wear a mask, get vaccinated, stay 6 feet apart. As soon as there's some break, you can go back to normal, no mask. Then you go back again. Okay, now you don't. Now you do. And it's like, you know what? Stay off the freaking TV until you have your facts straightened. It's that simple. But if their plan was to confuse the hell out of you, hey, yeah, well done. Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a crazy landscape that we're trying to navigate here, with, this is okay, but this isn't okay, but this is okay this week, but next week it's not okay. And you're right. I mean, it really is this thing of like, I have a dear friend in Los Angeles who works in unscripted television, and he was really going through it because, of that. 1 week something would be said, and then the next week it was something different. And honestly, I just didn't watch any of it. I tried to listen to people that I know and trust, and people who I know who are scientists who I know personally, and I really wasn't following much of the media coverage of it, because I knew for me it was going to make me nuts. It's going to make me nuts. And, I just didn't want to add that to my plate, So, I also feel like right now it's a hard time to be a human on the planet. It's just a hard time to be a human.
I always say, if a UFO landed and say you want to go on a trip, I'd be on there in a heartbeat. So get me the hell out of here.
Well, you know what? Hang out with Elon Musk. He might be able to help you out with that.
Yeah, who knows, right? Space adventure. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, you go ahead.
No, space adventure. Who would say no to that? To have your own Star Trek.
Right? I feel like if a UFO landed, they take one look at this place and they're kind of like, you know what? No, we're good. We're gonna go to the next solar system.
That's like the joke about Jesus saying, when he's coming back, he did. But he left. He said, "You're on your own."
Yeah, he's like, you know what? No, I'm good. I came back for 3 days. I'm sorry. I'm not doing this with you guys again. Yeah, seriously.
But you can't fix stupid, but you can numb it with a 2x4.
You know what? I've tried that. And I mean, it does numb you out for a little bit, but then you got like a huge lump on the side of your head. So, cosmetically, it's not great, but,
Right.
it does work for a little while.
That's true. And when you ever joke, I heard from a nurse is how you fix stupid. You just give it some little anesthesia or just put to sleep. It was funnier when it came from the nurse, but
You're like, listen, I know it was funnier from her, but okay.
so with the last 9 minutes, I'm gonna pass it over to you. Is there anything coming on the horizon that your fans would like to know? And what made you join the Keith Network? I want this to be more interactive, so you can promote, talk about anything you want. This is your time.
Oh, thank you so much, Keith. That's lovely. Well, I have a picture, a film that I did called The Last Picture that's in the festival circuit right now. And it's gone to Toronto, it's going to Sundance, so that's going on. I'm involved in 3 projects coming up. I've got another one in the festival circuit. The First Rule that I did a voiceover work on for that one. I've got a novel that's coming out, an audiobook, The Marring, that I also did some vocal work on. So I've got a lot of projects wrapped, a project called Grassland that's going to be coming out, feature film. A lot of stuff that's in the works right now. So if people want to catch me, you can catch me on my website at saskiabaur.com. It's www.saskiabaur.com. And you can also catch me on Instagram. It's Saskia M.E. Baur. Those are my middle initials. It's not me being arrogant. Saskia M.E.B.A.U.R. Saskia Baur was taken, weirdly enough, on Instagram. And you can also find me on IMDb if you just search IMDb Saskia Baur. So lots of ways to get a hold of me. If you have questions, if people want to reach out, I love to connect with people. Always open to collaborations. I love working with filmmakers and other creatives, and always happy to help too. If ever anyone needs a reader for an audition, hit me up. I would love to help you. I'm very much about, I think because I came up as an actor in improv, I'm very much about collaborating with people, and I want to help people. I want you to look good, and I want you to have the best possible experience that you have. When I'm on set, it's not about me. It's about creating something bigger than me. And if I can support another actor, if I can support a filmmaker, I always will, no matter what, because I don't feel like any of us gets to where we are just by our own. Definitely, we have to have our own energy and drive, but I feel like we are all helped along the way by people. And I want to be that person that helps, that whether it's bringing a filmmaker's vision to life or helping another actor, I want to help. Really, I'm at my best when I'm being of service to somebody else. So that's a little bit of what's coming up for me and kind of what I'm about.
No, I agree with you 100. 100. Now I'm doing it to myself. You know, when I do my talk show, yes, I'm making myself into an example for people out there dealing with and without a disability. That if you have the heart and passion in your sleeve, in your list, or whatever your catchphrase, I'm a big fan of The Rock, so The Rock gets me fired up. If you have a heartbeat in your wrist and you're doing what you love, it isn't a work. And same thing with my show. This isn't about me. This is about you and the people watching who want to get motivated, who need someone to be like, you know what? He has it, and he has his limits and limitations, and I may be a little better than him, not to have your head up your ass or anything. But the point is, if he's willing to turn himself into an example and saying, hey, he reads and learns at a fifth grade to high school level, who's on the spectrum of being retarded, but he did 1,000 episodes. There's absolutely no reason why I can't get my life together. So by watching me, I'm motivating people out there. But, that's either a here or take. That works for some people. Obviously, some people get liquid courage, but you can't really fix that. But the point is, make yourself a decent person.
Mm.
And it's not about the fact someone has disabilities that wants to be an example. There should always be someone out there that you want to aspire to and look up to and say, I want to be just like that person. Not with the disabilities, but I want to have similar success to what they have, and I can do that. And by reaching my goal, you can inspire so many people who want to follow in your footsteps. It's like a bowling ball. It rolls. You hit one pin, you reach your goal. You hit another, you hit your goal. So, it's keeping the momentum going and saying, just do the right thing. Just be nice to each other and just be a good-hearted human being. Because, especially in today's day and age, New York City's freaking like the Wild West. we really need people to influence you. We need, not say heroes, but you just need positive role models. Just someone who's saying, I'm going to make a difference, and I hope you like it.
And you're right. I mean, it's when we leave this planet, we're not taking any of the stuff with us, right? Like, our cars, our homes, our clothes, none of that stuff's coming with us. For me, what remains is the legacy of what the person left, and I hope for me that I can leave a legacy of somebody who helped other people in any way that I can. I got sober at 23 from drugs and alcohol. And, I always say that when I share with people, is that if there's somebody out there who's struggling with that, call me, hit me up. I'll talk to you. I'll whatever I can do to help, or somebody who's, I've been so helped by amazing women in my life, and men, but also, like, I like to say women, because, I think sometimes women are pitted against each other, especially in the acting arena. There's a lot of competitiveness. And I would love to see that end of us lifting each other. Let's lift each other up. Let's celebrate each other. Hey, you got that part over me? Fantastic. Because it's not about, for me, it's not about ego. It's about let's make something beautiful. And if I'm not the right person for that project, but my friend gets it, then I celebrate that. Because you can't, living with that, whatever it is, like resentment or selfishness or self-centeredness is going to kind of eat you alive.
No, absolutely. Now, wrapping up the show, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But for our viewers watching, thank you for watching. Make sure to leave comments. Me and the guests would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're available, like I said, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, all our social medias. We have brand new episodes coming down the works. We're wrapping up. It was an honor and privilege having you as a guest. And until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Keith. Thank you.
And have a good night.